Welcome. Welcome to ALPOUGH. Sorry about that little delay there. Took me a couple extra minutes to make sure everything was set because of everything that's been going on. I've had a new computer here, and learning how to do it is all part of the process. And I learned something right before I get to go fix it later. So welcome to ALPOUGH. It's a little after 6:30 here. Today, we're going to be talking about UFOs. Who do you know? Am I on? Oh, thank you. Love the background. What's been in the news? What's been in the news? Well, it's been UFOs, man. I mean, it's really strange. I've been around for quite a while here, and this is the first year that ever, that it is now cool. It's actually cool about talking about UFOs. And I just found it kind of strange how you have all these so-called experts out there. It's interesting. What is an expert on UFOs? I mean, how can you be an expert if you've never seen one? Okay, so I'm taking credit here because of course the show is UFOs. Who do you know? Well, you know. Okay. I've seen many UFOs, and I've seen some really strange things in the air, some things that I thought were absolutely real at times. I didn't know whether or not they were or if they were an optical illusion. But I will talk about a couple of things that I actually saw, and one in particular that makes me what I would call an expert. Who's an expert? I think if you've seen a UFO, you can say something about a UFO. And, they might be right here. We don't even see them. Right? So what's a UFO? Oh, they call it unidentified flying object. What does that mean? Sometimes you can hear these F-4 fighters flying by. You can't even see them. They're going so fast. So how in the world would you know? You can't even tell. You could say that's a UFO because you can't even see it. Oh, I heard a UFO, but I haven't, seen one. So I want to take this time to let you know a few of my stories. There are many. But I will say that there was a time, and the times that it happened to me, there was a witness. So I'm going to tell you a couple stories, maybe three here. It just depends on how much time I got. So now, the one I want to share first is I saw in the 90s. I lived out in the country, so to speak, and we had some land. And we were out there, me and my two brothers, out there in the land. And we were just standing there, and it was like there's three of us. And somehow all three of us caught a different object. And all of us said, "Look." And we were looking up, and we saw these three objects that were literally coming at each other. Like, it looked like they were getting ready to crash into each other. It was just the strangest. Now, this was more of a light. Okay, it was so far up in the air you couldn't see. It was a light. All right. And so these things, it looked like they were clashing, but the thing that was so strange about it is just right before they seemed to get ready to crash, they turned into a triangle. And then they held that triangle like it was some type of formation drill. They just stood still, 3 objects in a triangle. We were all 3 literally blasted away. Now, neither one of them had ever seen anything like that. I'd seen something else, but it was a mind blow to see, because it was like it held a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and then they went back out in 3 different directions. It was pretty incredible. I looked at my brothers. Okay, now you finally saw one. Okay, but it was way up in the air. So unless you got film of it, you wouldn't be able to know exactly what was close. So, and then now I'm going to tell you my story. 1986, I was up in the Lake Arrowhead. If you're not familiar with the Lake Arrowhead in California, you have to go up to it and it's kind of look down on it. Okay, it's a big lake. People build houses all around this lake. It's kind of on a mountaintop also. So the houses had these high stilts on them. So you had these stilts that went all the way down to the ground, and you had these massive kind of houses. So that, it's a mountain thing, right? So, overlooking the lake are these huge, massive trees. All right. So we got there about late. It was a retreat that I was doing. I just won't mention anything about the people. But I was meeting some people up there, and I got there a little late because I had a business in Los Angeles, a messenger business, and it's Friday. It's crazy. So I got there kind of late by the time I got everything straight. And so it was about 12:30 at night. I go back out with a friend of mine who I won't say her name. And we were standing there. I had the truck door open on the passenger side. And I guess I was getting ready to reach in to get something. And my friend said, she's looking over my head up. She's looking over my head up. And she goes, "Oh my, look, Close Encounters of the Third Kind." And I literally felt the hair that I had at the time and my whole body. If you had that experience where your hair stands up, I turned around. I looked up, and there was this huge red ball-like thing. It's the best way I can describe it. This huge ball. Huge. It made no noise. The only thing we could hear was basically the whisk of the trees as it went by. And it started to go over to the lake. Okay? Remember, stilts, right? Everything's on stilts. So it's a kind of a mountain. And then there's these trees, but then it went past those trees into the clearing as it went over, started going over the lake. The best way I can describe it, it was a red ball, and it had a gold ring going around it. I could see the surface of this thing. It really blew my mind. Now, I looked around and I tried to find something, some type of an image that it looked like, okay? And so this is the image that I found, but this is not it, but this is close, okay? So now look, you see down on the bottom of the picture, there is water. This thing was floating across, okay? And so you picture this thing, it's all red, and then you have a gold ring in the middle of it. And you could see the ring kind of like, it's like it was going around and round, like that was part of maybe the engine. Now, one of the things that we both said, I said, be quiet. Be quiet. We want to hear it. We wanted to see. It wasn't a balloon. It wasn't one of the balloons. It wasn't a blimp. It wasn't a plane. It was this object that was floating across the water. And we looked at this thing for the longest time. Now, Lake Arrowhead is about 3 miles all the way across. Now, I'm estimating on that. It's about 3 miles all the way across where we were from. Okay. This object, I could not keep my eyes off. I would not in any way did I take a blink. I watched this thing start floating across the lake. Okay. This ball, it was a ball, no doubt about it. Never seen anything like it. I could literally see the surface of it. And I was literally petrified. And I was frightened. Okay? No doubt. I was frightened. I thought this thing was going to come back and get us. I mean, really. I think my friend said, hello, hello, as it was clearing. I put my hand over her mouth. I'm going, they're going to come abduct us. Don't say nothing. Here's what happened. It just blew my mind. So it goes across the lake. And at about the middle of the lake, it stopped at the middle of the lake. And it looked like it was revving up, similar to the bottom of this picture. And this thing took off straight into the sky, straight up into the sky. And by the time you could count 1, 2, 3, it was gone out of sight. It blew my mind. It actually changed the course of my life even. After seeing something similar to this, seeing something I'd never seen before, nor have I seen it since, nor have I seen any picture of it, of anybody seeing anything like this. But I know what I saw. This is 1986, guys. I go down to tell my friends what happened. They just looked at me like I was crazy. They looked at me like I was crazy. It was one of the most, from scariest things to rejecting things. I got the whole gamut. I saw something. I told somebody. They thought I was crazy. I decided I was just going to keep this to myself. But it changed the course of my life, no doubt. What it did was it made me question everything I've ever learned. I literally went into another direction because of it. It took a few years, but it did affect me. And I started becoming a ufologist. If you really want to get down with it, I started studying it all. I'm just trying to learn everything I can about this and hearing some of the other stories of some other people. And, it's hard to share the stories, not now, because, I don't care, man. I'm telling you, Sophia is the Holy Spirit. So if I told you it's a spaceship, man, you know, I'm not afraid to say what my truth is, as long as I don't get censored on YouTube. Guys, that you have no idea what's going on, the censorship that we got going on. You got to really be careful of what you say. So now it's cool. And the reason why, because of the money. Okay. They've just started the Space Force. Now there's so many other space programs going on. So why not have this come out? Now I've kind of kept up with it. I see the new stuff coming out, stuff that they're allowing. This stuff's been around. The stuff I've seen that they showing now, gosh, those things look dated to me. But again, they've been around for a long time, guys. So believe what you think you should. I'm going to go into that a whole nother thing about what the spiritual implication of UFOs, what that actually means. But that's not tonight. It's too deep of a subject. And frankly, it's going to take a little bit more time to prepare than just to tell you my story. But I will tackle it down the road here about it. All right. There's more going on here than we can see. And I just wanted to give you my experience. And that, I think, makes me an expert. So listen, I'm going to let you go. Okay. So Tracy, you just looked up and said there are other UFO sightings at Lake Arrowhead. So it might be a hot spot. I'm going to look into this. Tracy, give me some information. I'm going to come back to this one day and talk about it, because I'm telling you right now that was one of the weirdest things I've ever. One of the most incredible experiences, if not the most, of all the things I've seen in this world. I've never seen anything like this. So I want to wish you a nice evening. I appreciate you listening. If you didn't get a chance to check out my day show, I've got 107 now in the books. If you haven't checked my water out, please give me a like. Please subscribe. And I will see you again tomorrow at 2:30 Pacific to the ALPOUGH show. ALPOUGH. That's me. First name Michael. You can call me Comet. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.